Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
I hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. I just don't see you.
You don't see me. You should be able to see me now. There we go.
There it is.
Karan says loud and clear. We got Andrew loud and clear. Thank you, thank you. Coach Paul should be able to see us now, hear us. Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. If this is our first time meeting, I'm Coach Jay. I've been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past 6, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experiences, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You're all our audience, our chat. Let us know how you were doing today. Are you up on the day, down on the day? For me, today was a down day, not a pretty one. That Topstep account that I was trading, shout out to Dakota and Barron doing their combine challenge. I reset that one. Had a little moment of frustration in the markets today. So I'm at 2 on the resets on those accounts. I'm gonna take this one a little bit more patient, but yeah, down day overall for me. But personal account still alive. Took some losses, and we continue to trade. We continue to trade tomorrow. How was your day, Coach Paul?
Good. My Bitcoin did well. Made a little money shorting the NASDAQ and cut short a great trade in Rusty, which outperformed today.
Yes,
But overall,
did.
pretty good day.
Yes, it did. Yeah, the Russell, star of the show, I guess. Star of the show in the equities. 3% day up yesterday. 1.93%, almost 2% day today. Got some traders in the chat saying some were on tilt, some had pretty good days. Crude was nice to dread daily today. Savvy Taco up, but break even on New York. I traded Asia and London. Okay. And yeah, sometimes you get good price action in the Asia session, and then maybe in the New York session you're not seeing it very well. But as long as you're protecting those profits throughout the day, good stuff. Pi had fun with the ES today. ES was a nice trade today. A lot cleaner than the NASDAQ in my opinion. But let's get into these markets. There wasn't much as far as planned news goes on the calendar today. We did have a ton of Fed speakers. We had more MBA mortgage applications coming at 10.9%. But outside of that, Fed speakers, we had the president speaking as well. The president saying that they are close to the next Fed chair. They're narrowing it down to about 3 or 4 people from the 11 that they initially had. And says he's looking to get a new Fed chair pretty soon. He said even early may be the case. We know tomorrow we have PPI, jobless claims, more inflation data out. And then on Friday, we have industrial production, retail sales, and Michigan sentiment. So still a ton of opportunity for potential, catalysts in this market. So if you're not having a great week so far, there's still more opportunity. Just make sure you have an account eligible to trade it, right? And that's our job at the end of the day, managing our risk. We did have some Cisco earnings out. Cisco reported earnings per share at 99 cents. Estimate was 98. Revenue came in at 14.67 billion. Estimate was 14.63 billion. Pretty much in line with expectations there for Cisco. AI infrastructure orders from web scale clients over $800 million. So AI everywhere. AI is everywhere. Anything you got on the news, Coach Paul?
No, that's it. Tomorrow's the only thing. Tomorrow's PPI. Can that do something?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We saw the reaction to CPI yesterday. We had markets making all-time highs, but tomorrow PPI has the potential to be another catalyst to move these markets that are continuing to make all-time highs. Andrew was saying in the chat doesn't feel like a day that we were trading above 24,000 in the NASDAQ. And it's the way that we've been making all-time highs this entire run, right? We see the market trade up there and then we pull back, 150, 200 points in the NASDAQ. Let's talk about the quote board really quick. We have 35 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts today. To the downside, we had crude oil down 0.68%, copper down 0.78%, and lean hogs down 0.96% for our biggest percentage mover to the downside. To the upside, we had soybean meal up 1.82%, the Russell up 1.97%, micro Bitcoin up 2.73%, and micro Ethereum futures up 4.41%. I got to say an apology to micro Ethereum. I did not know your game. I'm sorry about that. But micro Ethereum, I looked it up. And yesterday's range, right? Yesterday's range, we talk about, the amount of leverage we want to use in some of these markets. Yesterday's range high to low, I went with 10 micros just to measure it. And 10 micros might sound like a lot, but micro Ethereum is 5 cents a tick. This entire range from high to low yesterday with 10 micros was a $500 move. I think that's a great market to trade for anyone who's just looking to stack, maybe some smaller days. Especially, micro Ethereum is having a moment right now, right? We see Ethereum pushing up towards all-time highs. Is it going to last? Maybe not, but I think we would be doing a disservice if we talk about other markets that are in trending environments and we don't talk about micro Ethereum. Again, I don't know how many traders that we have traded. If we look at the volume that traded today, it did trade a decent amount of volume, traded more than micro Bitcoin actually. Micro Ethereum traded 301,000 contracts. Micro Bitcoin traded 71,000.
Micro,
Go ahead, Coach Wall.
I wonder how much that is based on notional value.
Yeah, so Jack was saying I think the notional value of each contract is like $497 or something like that. It's very small, right? Because it's like if it's not a tenth of an Ethereum, I think it's a tenth of an Ethereum. So it is it's not a whole lot. 301,000 contracts though traded. Garvcom says on behalf of micro Ethereum, we accept your apology. Yeah, I mean, it's a trending market now. Are you going to be are you going to make the leaderboard trading micro Ethereum? Probably not. But do you care? Or is it presenting good enough opportunity to trade? Yesterday obviously was an anomaly. Today that range, if you had 10 micros, probably would have been closer to somewhere near $200. But it's a trending market, and if you could find a spot to get in, it'll be pretty hard to blow an account trading micro Ethereum, I think, unless you're just over trading, trying to catch every swing in the markets, right? Where you're, maybe you're short down here because it looks like it's going to break down, then you're buying up here because it looks like it's going to break up. You could probably lose an account there, but if you're just getting in the trend of this market, it's a pretty healthy trend now. The fact that we're focusing on it, does that mean the trend is coming to an end soon? Maybe, maybe not. But we've seen it over the past week or so, Coach Paul, have 3% plus days, which is pretty big.
Yeah, and if you trade micro Ethereum, you don't have to pay the gas tax. Probably a better way to own Ethereum if you want upside.
Yeah, absolutely. Pi says, I see a challenge here. I'm going to start an eval and try to pass it with just micro Ethereum. If you do, let us know. That would be an amazing feat there. But I think it's possible, right? You start in a 50K account, where it's less of a a profit target. And Dan Emmons, you said it, right? You can make $150 a day in your XFA trading micro Ethereum, right? Especially, I think it is going to be similar to Bitcoin. If you're trading it with a Topstep account, it's not counted the same way as micros are in the equities, right? So if your scaling plan says, you could trade 3 minis, you're going to be able to trade 3 micro Ethereum futures contracts. That's just the way it's counted. But hey, if you're past that scaling threshold, you could probably leverage up there. And again, this is not trading advice, and not take a whole lot of risk. I don't think 10 contracts is a lot in that market, to be honest. And it allows you to scale in and out of trades. But anything else you got on crypto, Coach Paul? We'll talk about micro Bitcoin chart later.
Yeah, we'll look at micro Bitcoin later. But yeah, challenge is on. Can someone pass
Yeah.
with trading just ETH
And if
or
it's going to,
micro ETH.
I mean, I'm seeing some price targets just in the Twitterverse, crypto Twitter, talking about $10,000 Ethereum. If it gets there, then this contract just becomes that much more valuable, right? Where the similar to the Nasdaq, if you look at the Nasdaq prices 20 years ago compared to now, it's a completely different market, right? And as we see crypto grow, Coach Paul, I know you've talked about this in Bitcoin, right? If we start to see Bitcoin $500,000 prices, that changes these futures contracts a lot. So
Yeah.
we may still be pretty early to this. All right. To talk about our big four, we had crude oil down 0.7%. The S&P up 0.27%, making new all-time highs today. We have gold up 0.24%, and the NASDAQ pretty much flat, down 0.04% after making an all-time high today as well. Let's take a look at the we always go to the Nasdaq. Let's take a look at the S&P chart on the daily, Coach Paul. What are we looking at here?
This is all-time high close. Looks like a rocket ship to me. Small range and small volume,
Yep.
which is healthy for the bull side. There's no volatility here. I think we'll go into the day action, but that looks really good to me. Unless otherwise, we've been saying onward and upward.
Yep. Since pretty much the start of the month, we've only taken out a prior day low once. Here's August 1st, and we keep making higher lows on the daily. We do get some pullback days, but even on those pullback days, we're not taking out prior day lows. We're stopping somewhere near 50% of the prior day's range. This is an extremely bullish market. New highs in S&P 6502 half. But it was an interesting trading day for sure, because we made that all-time high pretty much right on the opening tick of the New York session range and pulled back, right? Where it's these are not blind buy markets, Coach Paul, where they're not just running away.
No.
We are seeing these pullbacks. Last night, we had pretty much a quiet night until Europe, it looks like. That's where that buying came in. But Asia session pretty much.
Yeah, off of yesterday's big rally.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh yeah, off of yesterday's big rally, it didn't. Once again, we look at VWAP and it was flat. There was no one liquidating.
Yeah.
You hit it on the head. Europe just scooped it up.
Yep. Europe came in and started to buy it. I was actually awake during this time. I wasn't really trading, but I did look at the charts. The dollar was selling off last night pretty heavy. We saw currencies rallying. We saw the equities rallying as well. And it looks like it started in Europe. I think there was some news last night in Europe. We have inflation data coming out pretty much, all over the world right now. And a really nice trade here. If we look at that first half an hour from the Europe session, VWAP left that range and, stayed out of that range the entire day. We came back, kind of checked these, that 30-minute range. This is the trade I cut down here, Coach Paul. You can see where that risk was going, making a new low. We live to fight another day. We live to fight another day. But really nice rally here, making it a new all-time high. And then what do we get for the New York session? We tag a major level, super psych level. Anyone who's trading the S&P knows that we trade these $100 levels, 6,500, right? 6,500 in the S&P. And what do we get there? Initially, on that New York session open, we're looking at the 3-minute opening range. Pretty nice rally here. But we tag a major level, Coach Paul, and such a huge level, right? Again, the world of S&P traders is paying attention to this level. What did volume do?
It went lower.
It just
It
stopped.
did not follow through.
It just stopped up
It
there.
literally stopped.
Yeah. We didn't get that high volume reversal that we're accustomed to seeing, at least on this 3-minute chart. But that volume, especially above a major level, and we've talked about this before, but looking at some of these whole number levels Are we always going to get a reaction to it? We're not. But if you pay attention to how the market responds up here, and I'd just go with the thought process of, okay, if these buyers are that convinced enough to trade above it, are they convinced enough to hold us above it to keep trading higher? That VWAP tells us no. These are some late buyers, maybe some shorts that, okay, fine, you're going to trade above 6,500, I'll cover. But there was not enough initiative buying up there to continue pushing us higher, and we come right back down. Pretty strong sell-off. Not surprising to see this at all. 3-minute candle, 7 points in the S&P after making that high, because this is the, oh man, we got to take profits, we're not going higher kind of feeling here. Brought us right back down to VWAP, and then a really nice sell-off for the rest of the day. Not holding above that 6,500, Coach Paul. Maybe this was profit taking. Maybe some new shorts coming in, but pretty nice sell there.
Well, you said how much is it up this week?
Great question.
And then we were, if we look on just a daily regular trading hours, we gapped higher.
Yeah.
And it was up. It's just the buying. You hit it on the head. The buying stopped. It just stopped. It wasn't so much that there was selling. The buying stopped.
Yep.
Right at a major number. What was the high? 6502?
6502 half.
6502 and I imagine that was stops getting hit there. But it stopped. And you say this a lot, those major levels, where if we look at this regular trading hours with that gap, that's a different story. And once it got back under VWAP, it tumbled down. And what did it do, Coach?
We filled the gap. We had settlement in the S&P at 64.68. Filled the gap. Volume stopped.
You put it that way.
Yeah. That was our settlement price. We came right back down to it. Is it, are we always going to get this pop off of settlement here? We aren't, but just we talked about it before, right? If day traders are short here, as we get into the end of the day and day traders have to reconcile their trades, do we see that reversal of that move? And it's pretty much what we got here in the S&P. We didn't get the same move in the NASDAQ, but a really nice reversal right back to the opening range. Tag the opening range high. Really nice trade. Yeah, I'm in a chat. I'll let you guys know. I told Coach Paul when we were in the green room. I had a 10 lot mini trade on in the S&P in my personal account from 64.71. I was risking about 6 points on that. I cut this trade before it moved, so I am going to have to journal today, because it was a pretty nice trade to have
Today and every day.
Today and every day, but today is a day I'm going to sit with the journal and just go over some stuff, because the read was right, and I take, the read is good. It's a trade I'm going to take every time, but sometimes you got to let your trades play out. Anything else you got in the S&P, Coach Paul? You want to take a look at the NASDAQ real quick? Go ahead.
Let's put a VWAP on the first time we filled the gap. Let's put a VWAP. See what it shows us. So look at the volume. It's tiny. There was no trading, and we went how many times without making a new low? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why would you get out, Coach?
Why would you get out? Why would you get out? Dan Emmons brings up a good point. He said if the size was smaller, I bet you would have kept the trade on. I don't know about that. That is the case sometimes, but I don't know if that's the case this time. Was taking care of some other stuff and things like that. I don't know why I got out. I have no good reason. There's no good reason. No good reason.
Well, it was a nice, good look. Now, I like doing this when we get into major points or filling gaps. Is it, we keep talking, to fill the gap, is it going to be good? Well, Well, one way to see if it's going to be good is not just on a price, but with volume. And it was getting, along with you, accumulated down there
Yep.
because there was no volume. So that was like a brick wall. Very interesting.
Yes, it was.
Nice rally into the
Somebody was
close.
somebody was buying it down there.
Yeah, little at a time, or it might be just the shorts.
Having to get out.
Yeah, I had to get out.
Yeah. I like this comment from Infamous Stacker. I never realized how in depth At the Buzzer was. I just thought it was a fast thing and have not been watching. Thank you for
Oh,
joining
well,
us.
welcome.
Yeah, welcome. I don't know if you guys have ever seen. I'm about to basketball nerd out for a little bit here, but Kobe Bryant's Detail. That's what I think about when I think about this show. It was a show that Kobe did where he was breaking down other basketball players' film, and sometimes they would send their game tape to him, and he would break it down and tell them what he saw. That's what think of when we're doing this show. So in depth is what we try to do, and if you watch, it's the same process pretty much every day. Sam, I use AMP for my personal brokerage. All right, Coach Paul. Anything else on the S&P?
If you like what you see, what should you do, Coach?
Hit that like button. Hit the like button for sure. Tell your friends and
All
family too as
right.
well, and make sure you subscribe if you're not already. All right, let's take a look at the NASDAQ just really quick. Similar trade here, but we did not get that same bounce in the NASDAQ. And again, the NASDAQ just is not always as clean as the S&P. I'm trying to remember exactly where you have settlement price, Coach Paul, in the NASDAQ. Where was it? I think it was at
Oh,
929.
they took it off. Previous settlement?
Yeah, yesterday's
Give me
settlement.
one sec.
I think it was 929.
Yeah, I have it here. Give me previous settle was 924. Well, no, 23,938.
23,928. Okay, so
38.
38. So we can see
38.
how far, like that same settlement trade in the S&P. If you're taking that in the Nasdaq, you need a 60-point stop, and that's just the nature of the Nasdaq, right? It's a thinner market. Maybe you stop loss is a better entry in this case, but that same exact trade does not. There's no way I would be in that much size in a Nasdaq trade. Definitely not. But the S&P holds levels a little bit better, and we got that bounce in the S&P where we didn't get it in the Nasdaq. VWAP came down a lot further in the Nasdaq than it did in the S&P. Right, the S&P kind of hung out in that opening range area. The Nasdaq got back to VWAP. It was just not as much of a bounce on that trade. So we'll see what happens tomorrow in after that PPI print in the equities. But I know we want to take a look at the Russell. Let's take a look at the Russell on the daily to start. What are we seeing here, Coach Paul, on a daily?
Catch up time. Didn't think it would take this quick on a day like today, but look at the last 2 days. This is pure, in my opinion, allocation. What do I mean by allocation? Big money coming in and allocating capital to Rusty, which has been sitting. This is the high of this move since April lows, and it did it in grand fashion. It's starting to play the catch-up game. Why? The fundamental reason, I don't know. I just read and react. That looks to me like it's going to play catch up in percentage terms. So nice move. Remember the J trade we were talking on the daily?
It is playing out. Are we at a 2-to-1 on that trade yet?
Out. Oh, I don't think.
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. Tomorrow.
About a 1.2. 2-to-1 puts us right near 2400s. Interesting.
Okay.
Measure moves.
So, wow, What a trade.
Yeah, let's take a look at
Let's
it.
look at, huh?
Let's take a look at it on a shorter time frame. I
Yeah.
mean, really, it just went up. But let's take a look at last night. Man, what a trade this was.
Yeah.
We did talk about this one yesterday, Coach Paul. Here is
Yeah.
that 30-minute open from the start. Wasted no
And that
time.
was after yesterday's. They
3%
didn't
move.
stop.
No,
Huh?
it was after yesterday's 3% move, right? Where
Yep.
sometimes we think, okay, maybe we'll get a little bit of a pullback. Nope, the Russell is up about 5% in the past 2 days. Really strong move here.
Really strong. And, after, like you said, after yesterday's move, look at that opening was the low.
Yep.
And they actually moved overnight.
Yeah.
Now, I don't believe that there are some shorts that are trapped. I don't know. I wouldn't think so. But that's why I go back to allocation. If we've been watching, it's been lagging. So by not having exposure in their terms, larger money, not it's safe
Yep.
and it can absorb a lot of money because it's 2,000 stocks. So
Speaking of which, there's a question, good question from here. Rich in Bed-Stuy says, "Are there any larger stocks in the weighting moving this like the Nasdaq?" The heaviest weighted, I'm looking it up right now, and I'll put this in the chat for you guys as well. The heaviest weighted company in the Russell 2000 right now is 0.69%. I'm not making that up. You can look at the link. 0.69% of the Russell, and it is Credo Technology Group. Coach Paul, you ever hear of Credo Technology Group?
no, but I'm going to look into it.
It's the heaviest weighting, and I think why I'm bringing that up is that with the Russell, there is usually no one name that's carrying this thing, right? There's
Yeah.
2,000 stocks. Coach Paul used to say when we were paying attention to this in Discord, it's like moving a barge, like turning a barge, right? It's a broad based rally. There's a bunch of different companies in this thing, so it's not just one name. It's not as lopsided as far as the weighting goes as the Nasdaq or even the S&P, right? Where we see 14% of the Nasdaq is Nvidia. It's a little bit different here in the Russell. I think I've heard interest rate sensitive companies and things like that mentioned with the Russell. So maybe that's what we're seeing here. But no, not just one company moving this thing.
Wow, I'm gonna have to check out. Was it Credo?
Credo.
All right. It's I see a couple of comments here from Billy. There was a report that hedge funds have the biggest short position ever on small caps. That would make sense. When I said I don't see anyone short, either they were short in the cash or were they short because they were hedged? I'd love to hear that they were short because this is what drives vertical markets. Like they don't have time,
Yep.
and every 0.1% that goes up, it just gets worse for them. So we talked about when it goes, it goes play catch up. It could be from that short covering. I didn't even think why were hedge funds short. I don't know, but if that's the case, we're kind of seeing that they're covering. Who knows where they were short from either. Oh,
Who
2 days
knows?
ago, Credo had a 79% year-to-date rise. And all we talk about is the big ones. See,
Chat
wow,
knows.
thank you.
Yeah, right. 79% year-to-date rise. Bink is saying Credo does mostly high-speed broadband infrastructure. Uh, Maybe they're getting some business
Oh,
after AOL cut off dial-up.
oh no.
Yeah, dial-up is no more. Dial-up is no more. All
No
right.
wonder my home connection wasn't working.
Coach Paul, if you were still on dial-up, there's no way you would be able to be on the stream right now. Not even possible.
There
I think
was
I Go ahead.
there was like 1,000,000 or 2,000,000 people still on dial-up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good. I wonder who was responsible for who was the team managing that, right? Like just keeping it alive, keeping dial-up alive. I've worked, my professional career in IT infrastructure, and there were some things that I saw that I was just like, "Ooh, that is not supposed to be happening." I'm talking about servers that were running applications, and it was like a laptop from 2001, and we were in 2016. It was like, oh yeah, that's our server. It's like, no, that is a compact laptop that is on its last legs, and if you kick the power cord, everything goes down. So I wonder who was running AOL. Uh,
Band-Aids and
yeah,
well, you know,
toothpicks and bubblegum holding it holding it together.
maybe I'm the oldest one here, but floppy disks still run some government applications.
Yeah,
And I heard Department of Defense, which I just ignored that. I just don't want that to be true. But still, we think it someone's using it.
hey,
Uh,
someone's using it.
I guess I'll have to find a new internet
Right.
connection.
Talk to Elon. See if you can get Starlink set up. All right, let's take a look at gold. We have gold here. Pretty quiet day in gold over the past 2 days. What are we seeing in gold on the daily here, Coach Paul?
More of the same that we had yesterday. Um, a whole lot of nothing. Um, I didn't even find a trade. I didn't even, after the first half an hour last night, I stopped looking at it. We're in balance. Look at the volume. Like, if
Yeah,
they opened gold and no one cared, longer term view, I'm kind of concerned if own gold.
yep.
Like, when's the brigade coming? We've had so many promising charges about which one gives up the ghost.
Where are the
Um,
buyers?
it's interesting. What is the 50? Is the 50-day moving average starting to tick lower day to day, or is it just flat?
Yesterday it was at 1720. Today is at 1620. So yeah, turning down just a little bit here. Down a couple dollars over the past couple of days. The 220 moving average is pretty much doing the same. They're pretty much a flat line. John Jones says, you can still make money on quiet days in gold 100%. Even today there was some opportunity in this, and I think if we look to the left, anytime we get in this area near these 3400s, it's just kind of to be expected days like this in gold. We got catalysts coming out the rest of the week. We have a couple of headline moving numbers, or market moving numbers, that are going to come out. I think gold may just be consolidating, waiting for that. But if we look to the left, it's done this before, right? And if patterns are patterns, we should be seeing the lower extreme of this range. We are still holding that NFP candle, which was August 1st, but starting to accept price inside of it. So interesting stuff in gold here. Let's take a look at a shorter time frame. Let's go down to a 30-minute chart and take a look at last night's open. Pretty flat day. Pretty flat day. VWAP is probably going to just be hanging out right above the high of that range. Yeah. Two-sided trade, but if you found opportunity here, there were some good ones. Didn't get up close to the 200 moving average. That was a target. We were in a short in the house account, I believe, from the opening range. And we were saying if we didn't break down below VWAP, that 200 moving average was a potential target up there. We didn't get up there, but got a pretty nice reversal up at those highs, Coach Paul.
Yeah. Did we get a J trade at the high with the high volume?
Yes, we did. That's on the 30-minute. I'm sure it looks a little cleaner or maybe better risk to reward on a shorter time frame. Let's take a look at a
Oh,
3-minute
wow.
here. Yeah, that's not a bad trade. That is not a bad trade. Here's the highest volume. We close below that. decent opportunity. So, like you said, John Jones, even on a quiet day, there are opportunities. Can I expect a $50 move in gold on a day where it only trades 35 points high to low? Probably not. But also, you don't need to catch that whole move, right? If you could catch a piece of this, this is still a $1,500 move with a one lot mini or a couple micros. You could have a pretty good day here. Pretty good day. Good rotations for sure.
Yeah, there's there's opportunity. There always is. But what does that look like on a 1 minute?
The volume was here, and then it kind of just fizzled out a little bit. Looked like it wanted to continue for a second, but again, when volume doesn't leave that range, it's a little concerning. A little thin up here. Maybe some
Yeah,
chasers.
look at that, the size of that buying. I just want the thought process here.
Yep.
All that buying, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't buy enough gold to get it going higher again. I'm a poet, And
Coach Paul with the
what-
nursery rhymes.
once it closes below that, who's left to buy it? Or a better way to think of it is improbabilities. That the probability is failed buying. So what's the risk? Well, on a 1 minute chart, see if you sold it at when it closed below the two ATRs, new highs, whatever it is that you can afford or you're willing to take, you get 2 to 1. If
Yep.
you bought it when it broke out and you didn't see VWAP, what's your risk?
New lows on this candle.
Yeah. I'm noticing now if it does that, where we see VWAP, it doesn't leave the range and it's pretty quick. Right when we get under something I've been watching lately is if we close under VWAP and it hasn't left the range after making new highs, that's not a healthy buy.
Yep. Yeah, not a healthy buy. Yeah. Once we close, you could take the trade off earlier, right? Do you want to Lenny your trades? Maybe, maybe not. But this is new information here. Closing under that VWAP that way, right? Where the thesis is if this holds, that VWAP should hold, right? If we get any pullbacks, it should hold. And when it doesn't, that could be an early sign or that could be curtains for your trade. Could be curtains. Anything else you got on gold, Coach Paul?
That's it.
Let's take a look at oil. Also, I want to ask, do any of our traders, while you're trading, put a 1 in the chat if you pay attention to the dollar index, 2 in the chat if you don't. Here's crude oil. What are we seeing in crude oil here, Coach Paul? Got some more bearish fundamental news in crude. Production increases.
And we're fading underneath the low of that breakdown candle, the second one. We've now closed. We still haven't closed under. Why I'm suspect on this? Getting short. I don't want to get short in a home. Let's put it that way.
Same here.
Is the volume.
Yeah.
That volume should be a lot bigger if we were liquidating. I don't know about open interest, but it was a nice sell early this morning. Let's take a look at the 3-minute. Even then, look at it breaks out, test your will, maybe even stops you out.
Yeah, depending on how tight that stop was, may have gotten stopped out here. But then we have, and the house account did take this trade. We'll take a look at the 5-minute opening range since that is what the chat has been voting on. We had a actually, hold on. Let's take a look at the 30 really quick. Yeah, we rejected off that 200. Now we're in trend lower mode. 5-minute opening range is right here. And a pretty nice trade from the house account here with the help of the chat voting on that 5-minute opening range trade. Took a little while. Took a little while to get into this trade. It was, a half an hour before we even got triggered into a short as we were coming into fast markets. But then, momentum picked up, volume left that range, and a really nice short trade. I think JD took 2 off at 2-1, covered the rest of it as we came back up towards VWAP, but a really nice short there.
Nice. Now let's look at what London's calling.
Here is the 5-minute London opening range. And if I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning again, I know what I'm going to be trading.
It's almost the same thing as the U.S. Almost the same pattern.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much the same pattern. JD says, I'll see you then. See you in the order books. But yeah, really, really nice short there. Really nice short. Recovered, take your profits as it presents it to you. But then another opportunity to reload that same exact trade in the same area, right? We came back to that the London opening range and the New York opening range is almost the exact same range. But volume, even when we got back up here, was still lower. So as more volume comes in, they just pass the deck, as you say, Coach Paul, and continue to sell. Really nice trade there in crude oil. Got a 3R in crude. Again, we talk about it on a higher time frame. This market is not going anywhere much, but maybe slowly trickling lower. But we had a 70% down day, high to low. We had a 2.25% day in crude. So there's enough opportunity in there as well. Any other markets? Go ahead, Coach Paul.
Quickly, let's look at a failed J trade on the sells on the bottom. So we had that big volume, probably 2 or 3 times. Did we close above that?
We did. So the high of that candle is 62.47. This 5-minute candle close is 62.50. Someone in the chat, we'll do a little pop quiz here. Why did this trade fail? We'll see what everyone thinks. And if you guys want us to look at any other markets, let us know. But why did this one fail based on how we look at this trade? It's important to know exactly what your trades look like when they fail. So didn't close above. So Rich, it did close above. It did close above, right? So we had 62.47 at the high. This is technically a close above. We're looking at a 5-minute chart. If you're looking at a different chart, maybe different. Bink got it. Tawana got it. Not in the direction of the trend with breakout upwards. And Bink, no volume. Right? One of the added confirmations that we add to that J trade reversal is the volume has to leave that range as well for added confirmation, right? Can I take the trade before it? Yeah, because we're looking for the close price wise, but look at what volume did. That stayed a flat line, pretty much right in the middle of that range. And if we put puzzle pieces together, what percentage are we giving to that volume confirmation, right? It might not be, hey, I need it 100% to leave the range in order to take the trade, but this flat volume tells us range bound market, and that's kind of what we did, right? We closed above those highs, but we rejected because there was no follow through, right? No volume to trade above that, and we stayed in that range the rest of the day. Towards the end of the day, we did, start to see price leave it, but on this initial trade, it failed because there was no follow through.
That cat bounce.
Yep. Yeah. Kevin says that would have been an avoidable trade just watching VWAP. Yeah. I mean, if you add the VWAP to there and maybe you don't use it, maybe you take this trade and it's okay. We're not trying to avoid losing trades. If I try to avoid losing trades, the best way to do that is to never click the buy or sell button. Best way to do it. Fail-proof strategy, just never trade, right? But in this event where you may take this trade and get stopped out, that's perfect information to not get caught in a bias, right? Where, okay, I may think this is a buy, but the market disagrees. It may be a better buy, or you could re-enter this trade if you say, hey, you know what? It's a range-bound market. I've identified it's a range-bound market. I bought the high of the range. That's okay. I got stopped out. What happens when we get back to the lower of the range? If that volume doesn't follow, there is a better opportunity for a potential buy somewhere lower. I just can't get caught in the bias that this has to be a buy up here because it may not work. And the whole number did become a support. We had that 62 level there, so nice call out there, Dread. Any
Or
other?
simply, you could take that trade and accept the risk and get stopped out and move on to the next trade.
Yep. You're not going to avoid a loss. So just learn to accept it. Got a couple of traders that said they use the dollar. The reason I asked, I don't really use it, but for whatever reason, while I was up this morning, I took a look at my charts. I pulled up TradingView, and for some reason, it was on the dollar index, and I saw it selling off while the currency futures were rallying. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty direct correlation there. Then I looked at the correlation matrix that Hogue shares with us, and it was like a 99% correlated inverse correlation between the euro futures and the dollar index. So shout out to the traders that are using it.
99? I heard it was 90, 99. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't trade that much. Plus, it's expensive to trade. ICE charges a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Gold was rallying at that time, right? That was right around 3 a.m. Eastern time. So we did see a little bit of a sell off, but then gold did start to rally as well. Yeah, sir. We see your question. Please, you don't have to spam it. The best strategy in NASDAQ is to trade micros. The second best strategy is to identify something that you are comfortable putting risk behind. For me, I'm going to use volume, right? Identify how volume is flowing in the market, right? Is it pushing us to the upside? Is it pushing us to the downside? Is it pretty much flat and telling us range bound? But the same strategy you see us apply to any market, I'm applying to the NASDAQ as well, right? Identify a range, see how the market responds to that range with volume, and then get in and trade from there. And if it's not directional, don't trade it. Andrew says best strategy for NASDAQ, just don't. Yeah, seriously. I mean, there are especially if you're a newer trader, you are going to see a ton of traders, myself included, trade the NASDAQ. It's not what I would advise most people to trade, especially if you're starting out. Trade the S&P, trade a slower market, trade micro Bitcoin, right? Trade micros in all of these asset class in all of these markets because, everyone's trading the NASDAQ. And you see the big P&Ls come from there, but what you don't see are the big losses that come from trading that as well, because those accounts don't get shown. My losses today came from trading the NASDAQ. The S&P is just a lot cleaner. But so when we went to the floor at the Board of Trade when we were in Chicago, Coach Paul, and it was really interesting. We saw traders, trading futures, obviously, and trading options. It was an options pit. There were 6 people in the NASDAQ pit. 6. And you might say, oh, well, yeah, because there's no more floor traders. That doesn't exist anymore. There were 100 people in the S&P pit. And we see it on the order books, right? The NASDAQ is extremely thin. There's just not a lot of business being done there. You look at the volume that gets traded. The NASDAQ traded 448,000 contracts today. The S&P traded over 1 million. So it's a thin market. It's going to move pretty quick. Is it fun? It is. Speed is fun, but speed could also get you hurt. So
speed kills too.
Yes, it does. If you are trading it, just be careful. Trade with a stop, just like you would in any other market, right? Just because you switch over to the S&P doesn't mean you're automatically going to be a profitable trader. But give yourself a chance trading something a little bit slower. All right. We got one more question. We got another question from Billy here. Closing volume seems lower lately. Anything to draw from that? I think you were talking probably about the equities. I think volume in general, Billy, just kind of seems a little bit lower. Like the last 6 days or so, we've been either right at or below the average volume. I don't know that I get anything specific from looking at, lower closing volume. What about you, Coach Paul?
Well, it's volume decreases as we rally. Why is that? Because as we on a bear market or big breaks, there's hedging going on, and it doubles the volume. Basically, can double. Um, Hedging crisis movement. You attract more players into futures now, especially because futures by institutions are used for its leverage. Let's see, they want exposure. They'll put on X units of futures and then start reeling in the stocks. Um, so on a downside, when we're breaking, as you can see it, look at March and April average volume swells. The average volume is twice was twice as much as the volume now. Um, and that's why I believe there's more volume. You're probably noticing that because there's no one stuck. When in a rallying market, I mean, there's no crisis.
Yeah,
It's
I think I said it the other day, Coach Paul. I don't know that I've heard the term panic buying in the markets used for someone's panicking because you're short, but just a broad based panic where the market just rallies. It's like, oh my god, everything's going, we have to
yeah,
buy. That usually doesn't happen. It's usually the other way around, right? So it's just allocate funds on decent pullbacks. 5% pullback. We saw Dakota post the other day on his Twitter. He's just like, okay, time to put some money to work on a 5% pullback in the NASDAQ. If he was looking for more, he didn't get the opportunity to buy. So it's just where can we allocate at a decent price where if we look at this 5 years down the line, we're going to be happy with where we bought because these things are just meant to go up. May not feel like that when you stare at them day trading every day, but it's just going up.
yeah. I mean, look at how much we're up from the end of the world in April.
about 43% in the NASDAQ.
Okay.
It's like crypto numbers.
Yeah.
Except Ethereum does it in a week. All right. Any other markets you want to talk about, Coach Paul?
Speaking of Ethereum, let's check out Bitcoin. We
Almost
were
making a
talking
new
yesterday.
all-time high.
Very close. We were looking at this yesterday. Um, and there was an allocation. Bitcoin is gaining momentum to the upside. I said yesterday we held that 20-day moving average. We opened early. We found no selling, and I think it's just a couple days before we make all-time highs. Decent volume, a little above average, but it's actually finished right near its high, if not at the high. So that's staying alongside there, looking to buy dips there, or looking to buy it. Let's look at that. Is that the half hour?
Yep, half hour from last night's open. A little bit of a pullback, but still pretty strong here. Guaranteed volume did not leave that range to the downside. Even if it did, wasn't convincing.
Oh, it did.
It did.
All
They
right.
tried. They failed.
But now let's take a look at that downside. It took all night on low volume. So if you shorted it, then you took a small loss. If you didn't take the loss, you took a beating.
Yep.
Cut your losses, let your winners ride. Now, what's interesting is VWAP didn't leave that range on the 30-minute until that big buying candle. Like there must have been some news. Look at that.
Yeah.
Big volume in the middle of the day.
Let's take a look at a shorter time frame, see what that looked like. Yep. Not the exact equity open, but a little bit afterwards. I don't know what might have came out there, but we did retrace that move a little bit, and then, but it held. The market respects volume. Man, nice
Well, look at
trading.
how it finished.
Right.
Now, remember, Bitcoin is 24/7 trading cycle. So there is no official opening. There's opening where it can be reacting to the equities, but there's really, I mean, it's kind of random, the open. I mean,
Whenever the volume is.
it's not, yeah, it's not constrained. So if we look at that, it was there something from last night. We could see failed selling.
There's one here.
Oh, there's a J trade for you. There's the failed selling. Oh, and then you got stopped out.
Yep. If your stop was below the low, made a new low. And same thing here. You could frame that out. But yeah, there was no real selling in this market. Just finding a passive bid. Crypto only goes up. All the hodlers are just waiting for any opportunity for a pullback to buy. And it looks like we are making all-time highs pretty soon here. Last trade in micro Bitcoin, 123,655. The all-time high in the futures, 124,700. I got to get a spot price. Spot Bitcoin price. Let's take a look. Also, while I'm doing this, Coach Paul, we got some questions in the chat. One from JG, real quick. Best ag-related futures market to trade?
Oh, either soybeans or corn. I would say trade corn first. Soybeans are the NASDAQ of grains. When you're right there and you catch something, it's a big mover. But if you're just being introduced, corn is a great market. And then you can adjust as you trade it more. I love cattle, but it's kind of like when NASDAQ was at 5,000, cattle's at all-time highs. It's 2.5, almost $3 a pound. It's in other words, it's too big of movement for most of the accounts here.
Yeah.
You could drop 400 in 5 minutes there. So if you want to be exposed, I would go to corn.
There we go. Corn, which has been selling off for pretty much the entire year. Had a pretty big volume day. That was the WASD report yesterday.
Yeah. Let's watch that one too, though. That could be.
Yep.
That could be the low. Look at that volume.
And
Can we get a J trade out of that?
We could. We definitely could. If we close above that high, 408.60. Coach Paul, Coach Hoop, actually. Coach Hoop covers a ton of the ag markets as well. He has his class coming up in Discord in just a little bit, where he will go over. He sent me some something on seasonality trade. He might be talking about that in his Discord class, or Coach Jack, and Coach Jack as well. The corn man, the corn trader. All right. One more question here from Robin. How do you get into a trending market like the Russell today? Let me in. Robin, it is, once we start to see these markets break away, and we talked a little bit about this with Carlos on the Thunderdome segment today. I'm looking at the New York session open here. We break away, volume leaves the range, we come back, test it one time, and then it kind of looks like we just go. One of the things you can do, and we see Dakota do this a lot, is measure what the average pullback starts to look like. Let's see if I can do this. Not going to be as good as Dakota at doing this. Nope.
Yeah, he's really good at that.
Already messed it up. How do you do it? Horizontal line. Yeah, that's what I want. A horizontal line, but we need to take, nope, not a horizontal line either. Damn it. Hold on a second. What am I looking for? What am I looking for here? Maybe a trend line?
I don't know.
He's like, I don't know. Not in your head. I'm looking for a trend
Um,
line. I'm looking for a trend line. Hold on. Here we go. We got it. We just need to not extend this to the right. There we go. All right. So trend line. Here we go. So average pullback, right? Measure these average pullbacks. You'll see Dakota do this. What are these average pullback moves, right? These are measured moves. You might have to wait for the first couple to play out, but on average, and you can see I just copied and pasted this. What's that pullback? When we get an average pullback, that might be your opportunity to buy. I think what happens in runaway markets like this is, Coach Paul, if I'm buying here, traders are looking at the point of invalidation all the way down here, and then I don't want to take that risk, which makes sense. That's a lot of risk to take. But you don't have to get kicked off the cliff like the guy in the 300 movie in order to realize that this trade is wrong, right? If we get all the way down here and you're still holding on to this trade, you were hoping and not managing risk, right? If it gets this high up, I may not be able to get a great entry, but there's still an opportunity to get into the trade, especially if I measure the pullback. So measuring that pullback, and then maybe you go with a Coach Paul 2 ATR risk, where on a 3-minute chart here, the ATR was 2 points at this point. So let's say I buy on one of these average pullbacks. Let's say I don't get the low here. I get in here. 2 ATRs would be 4 points. That's my risk. Do I get a 2-to-1? I do. Is this a scary trade to take? It is. I think it's a little scarier though to buy it before that pullback, especially on a breakaway market, because let's do that same measurement where you're right on direction. Who here has felt this before? Oh, I knew I should have bought it here and I didn't do it. I knew I should have bought it here and I didn't do it. All right, fine. If it's going to keep breaking out, I'm going to buy it here. And then you buy it up here. You go with reasonable risk, 2 ATRs by Coach Paul's suggestion. Before that average pullback, you get stopped out of the move. Now it's FOMO. I know I'm not supposed to be buying markets that make all-time highs, so now I'm supposed to short it. And then I short it, and then it grinds higher. Anyone ever been there before?
oh,
I
I'm
have.
getting ill. Don't say things like this. I'm getting triggered.
Hey,
Yeah. And then I sell it.
yeah, I knew it
And why did I sell it, Coach?
because I'm pissed. I lost money, and
I'm chasing money.
trying to make money. Trying to make money. We've all been there before, right? So measure what that pullback is like. If you get somewhere close to, and you might have to wait a little bit, right? We're doing this in hindsight, right? But Dakota does this in real time. I do it in real time. If I see the NASDAQ running away, I'm like, okay, I'm looking for a 25 to 50 point pullback before I can get in. If I don't get it, there's no trade for me because I've done this before. I bought this high too many times. And I still do it time and time again, but know what your trades look like when they're not going to work, right? What I am aware of as well is before we really get any price action to break above what that previous high was from the pullback, we're talking about an hour. So you may have to just hold on to this trade. This Russell was a grind up all day kind of trade. And after you got in, where you're still looking at this, all this empty space down here as a pit, like, oh man, they're just going to come and just destroy this whole trade and I'm going to lose. If you measure the risk, you're never going to lose this. You shouldn't. You should never lose this if you measure the risk. If you don't, different story. But if it stops you out, it stops you out. It's just one trade. But you did have to wait some time for this to break out. If you were patient, really nice trade there.
Here's another way to look at it. If it's a runaway market, when you talked about pullbacks. Let's say you get a 2 ATR pullback.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So, and that comes on every high. When it makes a high of the day and then breaks that candle that it made the high.
All right, so candle makes the high. We get a 2 ATR pullback. At this time, the ATR was 2 points. So we get a 2 ATR pullback. That's 4 points right there. Let's see. From that point, if we took a long just on that 2 ATR pullback, do we get stopped out? 2 ATR stop based on Coach Paul's suggestion. We get a little bit of drawdown in the trade, but still you don't get stopped out. You just got to be patient. And that shit sucks. Gonna call it what it is. But
patience?
Yeah, man, I want it right now. I want it now.
I want it now. And I don't want losses and I don't want heat. There's no one that can do that, by the way.
Right.
I want to put it here. Some of the best trades I've ever made gave me the most heat up front.
Yeah, good point.
Sometimes if it's too easy, you're like, oh, damn it. Like good fills, oh, that's not good. If they're giving me a discount on something that's good, that's probably not good. But yeah, I play with things like that. And I just took that off the top of my head.
Coach Paul, you know what that is?
Mhm.
Market generated information.
Yeah, that is.
The average movement on a 3-minute candle is 2 points. 2 times the average movement could be a decent enough pullback to buy. Now, it pulled back a little bit more than that. It pulled back, 4 times the average, but I also don't think it's my job to try to figure out how to buy this low tick, especially if you want to get in a trade on a trending market. Just find a way to get in there.
Right. You're not going to buy the low tick.
Right.
You'll be frustrated, but it gives you a good idea of where to take risk. I'm a breakout trader at heart.
Hmm.
So that's probably why I feel heat. Like, but if I do a breakout, I set my stop, I don't watch it. I'm telling you, I made that. That's what I looked for. I accepted the risk. The more I watch, the more anxiety builds up, the more maybe I should just take this now and then short arm it.
Yep.
So understand, if you're going to trade, you have to take risk. There's no such thing as a riskless trade. And you have to be comfortable with it. I'll tell you when you don't get comfortable.
When's that?
When you're watching every tick.
Yep.
So I hope that suggestion works for some people. Was that 31?
Yeah, so I'm just measuring out the what was the 2 ATR risk at this point. We made a low in the NASDAQ, right? If I thought it was going to sell off, what kind of pullback am I looking for? The ATR was 16 points on the 3-minute chart. 2 times that is about 32. We didn't get exactly 30, but again, look at these measured moves. And if I'm looking to now get into this trend after a pullback, and think about what we're saying here, right? These are 2 average moves in one direction that we're allowing the market to trade. In a trending market, what's the likelihood that we see 4 of these, right? So now if I'm selling up here, my stop is now another full pullback move away, right? Where now my stop gets to go up here and you're looking for a 2 to 1.
No.
Quick maths. All right, good stuff, Coach Paul. I like that suggestion. All right. We are above time right now.
Wow.
We got Coach Hoop coming up. Coach Paul, anything you want to say before we go for the day?
Well, now we have done extra time. We should get extra likes. So if you haven't, hit it. Tell your friends, family. Seriously. PPI tomorrow could cause some volatility. Let it play out. We talked about this with CPI. Let the people who have to trade, read it and react to it after. I highly recommend not getting in front of it. And trade your plan your trade. That's it for me.
Good stuff, Coach Paul. Thank you, everyone, for joining. As always, we will talk soon. Trade well, manage your risk. Remember, you don't have to guess in that PPI number. And Andrew says, if you don't hit the like, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't hit the like? And we'll end it with that. Have a good one. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.